Scripts. We love them or we hate them. But a great script is just invaluable. But how do we create them? Well, we're going to learn that today from the master of scripting, Steve Kiles. Hello, Steve. How you doing, my friend?
What's up, my friend? Frank Garay. Come on, brother.
Doing good. Welcome to another episode of the Mortgage Loan Officer Podcast. I'm your host, Frank Garay. We're brought to you by the Mortgage Marketing Animals, of course, here with my good friend, Steve Kiles, and partner in several things, it seems, these days. But, Steve, I wanted to do this podcast because you are definitely very well known as, you're like the script king of the universe, right? You're the guy with all the scripts. So isn't any objection that can be thrown your way where you don't have this very beautiful, concise, perfect little script that you can drop on people? You've literally written the book on it, right? Or in the process of writing the book on it. You teach it at all of our events, at all the Mortgage Marketing Animals events. You teach your scripting. You have classes every week on it. But here's what I wanted to know, Steve, is how do you do it? How did you become good at scripting? Is there a method to your madness? Is there a process you go through? How do you know when you need to create a script?
Man, that's a lot of questions, Frank.
But you get me though? You feel me? It's just, there's so much I want to know. And I think it would be really helpful for the listeners to understand what your process is.
Yeah. Hey, and first off, let me just say thank you. I love and just am so thankful for our friendship and what we get to do together. Love the podcast and just appreciate your contribution to our industry. So for all of our listeners who are listening today, Frank is truly one of the most genuine, compassionate, caring, thoughtful, dedicated leaders I've ever met in this industry. He's a great friend and honored to call you a business partner as well. So just love and want to say that for you, Frank. Just appreciate you, man.
Hey, checks in the mail, brother.
No check in the mail, man. It's
I'm just kidding.
And our friendship has just been a very cool divine flow, just a great friendship. And so, hey, and great question about scripts. I love that you said, hey, Steve, let's do a podcast, because nobody asked this. And one of the things that we really came to understand this last year, as scripting has become more and more important, is it's not a script, it's a design conversation.
Yeah.
Just like you would design a business plan, and just like you would literally, we're in the process of building our forever dream home. Every couple days, we're going back to that budget and we're redesigning the budget and we're tweaking and we're moving numbers. And I think people don't realize that scripts are no more than designed conversations. And what you're doing, and there's so many questions that you ask, but I love it. Every script that I've come out with has been a problem.
Right.
Frank, it was literally when I got in this business. I don't know if my story is, I'm 20 years in the business. And when I got in, I was 25 years old. I was a full-time musician at a church in Houston. And believe me, they don't make much money.
Right.
And I had just gotten married and I was just praying. I was like, God, what am I supposed to do with my life? I'm not making any money. I had lost a real estate business. We went $250,000 in debt. We failed with a guy who just absolutely swindled us out of $1.2 million in real estate and some other stuff. And I ended up I held the bag. So I paid every debt back. We had 4 houses in foreclosure. We pulled all of them out of foreclosure.
Goodness.
And every person we borrowed from got paid back. And I'll never forget, in that season, I was broke. I was newly married. That's not a good combination.
True.
I was brand new in the mortgage industry and I was starving for business because literally you only ate what you closed.
Right.
And so I think some of it was out of desperation. And it was just really like you would lose a deal. And it's like, I would just go back and dissect it in my mind and say, what happened there? Why did that customer turn? Or why did it feel like we moved on to the defensive? And one of the great closes that we're using now that really came 3 years ago when I lost a deal. And I was so frustrated, Frank. We literally did. I invested the time. I work after hours. We made it a rush. We helped her win the deal. It was multiple offers. We get the contract back on Monday. I'd worked on the weekend. I'd missed my kid's soccer game to help him win it. We get the contract. And you know what she said? The dreaded words, Frank. Hey, we're going to have to shop you now, right? And I was like,
Fabulous.
are you kidding me? And so I went home to my wife, Stephanie, and I'm giving you an example because this is how every script comes. Is
Right.
I went home to Steph and I said, babe, like you've been loving me for 15 years or 18 years or 17 years at that time. And I said, come on, had I done all this for you, you would have used me, right? And she said, no, you didn't ask for my commitment. You
Mm,
assumed and not asked. Well, that ultimately led to us building the loan consultation and learning to say at the end of every consultation, is there anything that would prevent me from being your lender? Because what it did was it now garnered the commitment and not just assumption. And
right.
then what happened was I did that a little bit and I'm like, okay, it's awkward at first, but it's working. And then what I realized, Frank, you know why they shopped us too?
Hmm.
They didn't realize we worked for free.
Mm.
Did you know that? Like most people, when you talk to a loan officer, they think we work for a big box bank that's on
Right.
a base salary.
They just assume
And
you're getting paid along the way, whether they do the loan with you or not. You're getting paid for your time.
you're getting
Yeah.
paid. He's being compensated. And so literally I lost another couple deals, not and they started losing less because I got better at asking the design conversation. Is there anything that would prevent me from being your lender? And then
Sure.
I realized, Frank, they don't know that we work for free.
Mm,
So then I guess I plussed it. What I did was I went in and said, well, Frank, hey, listen, most people don't realize my team and I work on your behalf in good faith. And here's where I addressed the what I knew they didn't know. And we are not paid or compensated unless we go all the way through to closing. So that's why we ask you in good faith to commit to using us
mm.
so that we can deploy the full resource of our office to give you the competitive advantage in today's marketplace. All of that came from losing one deal and then saying, man, how can I not lose that deal? Because, you know, Frank, it goes back to this, and I don't know where I heard it from. I didn't start it, but it was, did I want to get better or bitter?
Mm.
And that was
Right.
probably a pivotal moment because I can remember when I was starving, literally my first year, Frank, I think I made $18,000
Mm.
in 2003 in the middle of a refinance boom. I didn't even know what a refinance boom was. My
Right.
wife's working at a property management company making $45,000 a year. We're in our mid 20s and her friends think I'm a bum sitting in our apartment making calls trying to earn business. You know
Yeah.
what I'm like?
Yeah.
And I think what happens is you just get to a point where I want to get better. I want to at every stage learn how to get better. So the design conversations.
Design conversation. I love that phrase. And if you guys didn't notice, he just whipped out a couple of beautiful scripts that he teaches right in that conversation about how he's keeping people committed, et cetera, deploying his team. I want to make sure we have we're going to be able to deploy the full service of our team, or however you said it. Just fantastic stuff that just comes flying out of your mouth so easily. But Steve, this is what I want to know is like, how do you craft it? Like, you have a problem. You have this problem of people not understanding
Yeah.
that you're working for free, and
Yeah.
unless we close the deal, we're not going to get compensated. How
Yeah.
did you? And the way you just said that just a moment ago was so smooth and beautiful. But how do you craft a good script? What
One
what's
word at a
what's
time.
your process?
One
That's
word
what I
at a
want to
time.
know. Yeah.
One word. Hey,
Okay.
so like, let me give you an example. I heard somebody saying this a couple years ago, and I'll tell you this is I don't know how much of mine is original or not. All
Right.
I'm doing is grabbing one piece at a time. I heard somebody say this: if you're in the market, Frank, do you want the advantage or the competitive advantage?
I want the competitive advantage.
Well, heck yeah. Doesn't that sound great?
Yeah, way better than just an
So
advantage.
then, hey, listen, we can give you resources from my office, or how about instead of give, like I'll hear these words, and it's like you're a guitar player, and I am too. We're both. You're a lead guitar player. I'm a rhythm guitar player. I'm a heavy acoustic rhythm. I've been playing since I was 15. You love the lead and the melodies, and for me, I'm like I like just putting it all together. So I'll hear words like deploy, and I thought, well, man, if somebody gives me an advantage, or can I deploy a competitive advantage or the full resource instead of just a resource? Let's add the full resource. So when I'm thinking about design conversations, it never is like I just whip out this great story. It's the 10,000 hour rule. So literally, there's a day like literally I can talk to, and I kid you not, talk to 60 to 75 people in a day. So what I'm doing is I'm making these calls and I'm taking inbound calls, or I'm working this out. I'm literally working it out one word at a time. And I'm like, man, I heard somebody say the competitive local advantage. And I thought, Frank, that's it. If I'm a lender, what's better than the competitive advantage? It's the competitive local advantage. And so I'll just hear these words and I think, well, man, if I tweak this and tweak that, look, here's what it is. Every word creates a word picture. And you've heard me talk about this, that sometimes you'll say, hey, we'll need to pull your credit. Well, what I started feeling was when I tell you, hey, Frank, in order to put together and listen, we used to say, in order to put together options. And then what I realized was, what do options mean? Like anybody can do options, but then I started thinking about a financial planner. My good friend is a very, very successful financial planner. So I started thinking about, okay, instead of options, I want to build a plan for you. And then I thought, okay, well, instead of a plan, I thought, well, man, let's build a mortgage plan. Why? Because it's a mortgage. We're going to build you a plan. Nobody else is building you a mortgage plan. And then I thought, well, heck, oh my gosh, over time, I realized it's not just the mortgage plan, Frank, it's a clear mortgage plan. And how did I learn that? Because 60% of our population just want to be led well. So what I realized was every word I was using made you feel a certain way. And so look, hey, Frank, you and I can work through options here in the next 5 minutes and I'll send them over to you and you take a look, tell me what you think. And if you like me, then you can use me. Well, you're telling me a whole bunch of things. You're saying options. You're telling me it's easy. You're telling me that I can use you. You can tell me that you're telling me that I'm a commodity versus, hey, Frank, listen, we've got a simple 2-step process. Today, I'm going to have you complete the loan application and my team's going to help you with that. And then we're going to schedule your loan consultation tomorrow. And look, I'm going to move some things around. Because I know how important you are to our referral partners. So let me make you a priority, move some things around. How about 2:00? Excellent. Hey, listen, Frank, in that 30-minute loan consultation, I'm going to help you build a clear mortgage plan. We're going to walk through sales price, monthly payment, cash to close, answer any and all questions you have. Are you good with that? Fantastic.
I'm good with that.
But see, that what I just did was I painted a vivid picture.
Right.
Instead of just throwing out the easy, what I began to realize was people will walk through a process if you give them a clear process with the result that benefits them. What's their benefit? A clear mortgage plan. Well, some may say options, but I promise you this, I'll win 95% of the time because I'm more of a professional than you. And the only thing I changed were my words.
You know, this is fascinating. I want to take a quick break and we're going to come right back. And because I got another question for you, Steve. So we'll be right back. Okay, we are back. The Mortgage Loan Officer Podcast. Frank Garay here with my good friend Steve Kiles, who's just blowing everybody's brains out right now with just, you know, how amazing your what do we call these design conversations are. Because,
hey, can I say something, Frank? Look,
yeah.
One thing, because you asked, well, how do I do it? It's one word at a time. And I'll give you an example. I'll never forget. I was telling somebody, hey, Frank, I'm going to have to pull your credit. And I felt resistance.
Right. Pulling something. You're going to pull something from me.
Yeah, because, well, and that's what I think we have to just be sensitive to the conversations because the clients will tell you the right words. And whenever I'm paying attention, and I never do Zoom calls, just so, you know, some people do, that's great. I just have I have too many calls. So I literally will sit on my cell phone with Ring Central up and my earbuds in, and I just bang one call after another. But if I feel a hesitation, I'll usually I'll mark that down and say, well, why was that adversarial? Why did I feel a defensiveness? Because look, when you're in what is perceived to be a commodity business, if there's adversarial or push or pull or any resistance, you've already lost. Like when somebody says, Frank, hey, I'm going to shop you, you understand, right? Well, there's no way out of that. If I say, no, I don't understand, I've lost them because they feel like I'm a jerk. If I say, yes, I understand, I've given them the permission they're looking for to shop.
Right.
And so there's no win. You have to get ahead of that, which is before you provide all of the service, all of the advantage, all of the resource of your office. You've got to get their commitment. Now, if they lie after their commitment, that's character. I can't change character, but what I can do is make it uncomfortable and say, listen, when we started this process, you committed to using us. Yeah, but your rates are high. We addressed rates whenever we went through and I asked for your commitment. Hey, well, listen, if you're going to use another lender, completely understand. And I always throw this in. I usually find that within 7 to 10 days of a contract is when it gets shaky. If it gets shaky, call me back. We'd love to help you. And that's how I let them go. And so, but what happens is, like, even when we say things like pull credit, I would feel resistance. So what I started saying was, okay, well, if we can't, I don't want to pull it. So now how do I get them on my side of the table? Well, if you and I were sitting here, we wouldn't pull something, we would review it together. So I started saying, okay, pull is negative. So let's say review. Here's the other one that I heard a lot, and I even would say it, which is to be honest with you. And I realized I had one client say, well, Steve, are you not always honest? And I was like, ooh, wow, that hurt. Okay, so I am honest. I've got to find a different word. And some of this, it just happens like that. You're just sitting there saying, man, that word didn't work. Or, hey, here's what I would find out. We do our Tuesday Just Ask calls, Frank. And what was the one question I kept hearing from all the agents? So I do our Tuesday Just Ask religiously, like every Tuesday before noon, our calls are done. And here's the thing I hear, Frank, is, hey, well, are we still on track for closing? Well, now what do I say? The next one is, because here's how you design conversations. Whoever says it first wins. And that's what I was learning. So what I would say is, hey, Mr. Realtor, just want to let you know the file's been some, and I never know the details of the loan, except I'll look at a report, but I don't go into great length. It's a 3-minute or less call designed only to ask for the business. Hey, Mr. Realtor, it's Steve with your Tuesday update on the Smith file. Just wanted to give you a quick update. Everything's moving smoothly. The appraisal's been ordered. File's been submitted into underwriting. We are still on track for a smooth and flawless closing for insert in date. Hey, do you have any questions for me? Fantastic. Hey, let me ask you this. Who else do you have today that I can help you get pre-approved? Because I would love to work with you again this month. And so the whole point is that, but what I began to realize was, as I started saying, we are still on track for a smooth and flawless closing, because I didn't want to say we're still on track for closing, because here's what they'd say. Well, are there any problems?
Is everything okay?
Yeah, it's smooth and flawless, because I'm painting a picture in their mind. Why? Because I kept hearing, hey, well, like, do you expect any problems? No. That's why we're on track for a smooth and flawless closing. And so, like, when you hear something, you got to recognize, well, next time, if I can say it before they say it, I win. And Frank, here was the discipline. And I don't know why I did it. Why I love, like, in the evening, and I know this may sound weird, but I love steam rooms. I love, like, the steam shower, steam tubs, all that stuff. So every night, Monday through Friday, excluding the weekends, like around 8:30 when we'd put the kids to bed, and especially I've got a 10-year-old now, so in our younger especially, I would spend about 30, and it was my time. And that's where I would just go back in my head over, okay, what objections did I have? What came up that I can get ahead of? How do I say it first? And really, it wasn't more than 15, maybe 30 minutes of just every night, just trying to do the reflection of, man, I lost that lock. How did I lose that lock? What frustrated them? Because what I find, Frank, we get bitter. And instead, we're like, that dang agent, I hate agents. If I didn't have to work with agents, I wouldn't. I hate engineers. They're so meticulous. They pull every number apart. I can't stand certain groups because all they do is drive down the cost. And what I realized was, no. Okay, I lost it. Dude, it is what it is. I can't change it. But if I get better, I got a better shot of winning the next deal. So. And it's just a process, man.
It is a process. And it's now here's my next question. I want to kind of wrap this up and just point people to where they can get the help from you, because obviously it's a lot easier to just plug into all the labor and all the work that you've already done, right? As an originator, to just take advantage of all that, because clearly I think anybody who's listening right now has to understand that, oh my God, this guy's put a lot of thought and a lot of effort into crafting these conversations. It certainly is easier just to plug into that. And so we'll get people connected to you. But the other part of this, Steve, is obviously practicing these things, right? And do you have these taped up on your computer monitor somewhere? Or how do we get good at delivering or, controlling these conversations, these design conversations? They're holding up his scratched out notepad of tons of scribble on there, tons of stuff. But what's the best practice for it? Can we just do, okay, I'm going to really focus on my getting the commitment script for, this week. Then I'm going to focus on my whatever script, my pull credit script for the next week. Or how do you recommend getting really good at these and getting them just really laser beamed into your mind so you can just deliver them so smoothly?
Dude, that is such a great question. I love our time together. You know how you do it? You find out what objection you had yesterday and you get better with that one.
Okay.
If you called a Tuesday update and it didn't go so well, what caused it not to go well? Or I did my Thor's hammer call and I just am not getting appointments. Like if somebody had 40 talk tos and they only booked one appointment,
something's wrong.
You got to go back and look at, you're either calling the wrong people or your script's off. So I would focus on whatever your point of pain is, because what'll happen, look, true story. In my team, I've got hey, and by the way, let me just say this for all of our members that are listening. If you're a Mortgage Marketing Animals member or Freedom Club member, these script books, the book will be released probably in the next 60 days, but we've got these scripts on the website. So just log in and type in Steve scripts and they'll come up and you'll see so many of them. Pick the ones you've got the pain point with and start implementing that, because what will happen is you'll get better. Let me give you an example. Everybody's facing it, everybody. And when I say painful, this month, my team lost 15 contracts.
Wow.
15. That's just in the last 30 days. Thank goodness we got business coming in. But so we just started dissecting, okay, well, what is happening? And you know what happened? One of my team members is my mortgage expert. And so she's doing a lot more of the consultations. And she said, Steve, I got away from asking, is there anything that would prevent me from being your lender? And so 5 of them we lost to builder deals. We know that we just couldn't compete. But the others, so we started dialing back and saying, okay, well, what's being said? Where are we getting? And she said, I just got away from it. But listen to this, Frank, yesterday, she locked 3 loans. She said, it's just like butter. She said, I can't believe, she said, I could kick myself for it. And I said, girl, I didn't tell her this, but I'm like, I could kick you for it too.
Yeah.
But here, there's 2 lessons in that. 2 lessons. You've got to allow your team to mature through the pain. And thankfully, we've got, I would most of the time tell people more leads don't solve all problems, but I would have jumped in 30 days ago and said, what's wrong with you? I can't believe it. But what I've realized is I've got to let my team mature so that they can continue to grow. But what I can do is lead them through the assessment. Where's the pain? Where's the conversation? What do you think caused them to either not commit and do what they said? And what she said was, man, I just had to get back into dialing in exactly the way we do it. And I said, you know what? It's a great lesson learned. You won't forget that lesson. And I think we got to let our teams mature in that. But then we got to constantly assess. And so if you've got pain points on Just Ask, man, they bury me in a 15-minute conversation when I'm giving my Tuesday update, then log in, check out the scripts on the Just Ask Tuesday update and focus on dialing that in. If I'm calling my database and it's weird, or I'm calling 100 of them and I don't get any new leads or referrals, then you're not asking for the business correctly. So wherever your pain is, just start there. And here's what I do. I've got 2 notepads because this one's full and this one is half full. And I've got one that sits over there at my other desk. This is my podcasting desk. And when you say something great, Frank, I just write it down. When I was on the phone with Scotty the other day and he said something, and I thought, oh my gosh, it was gold. And Carl said something, and it's like every time I hear something, I'm like, oh my gosh, that like it's just being aware that our words create worlds. Our words are more powerful than we think. And half the time we sabotage ourselves. Like I was coaching my team this morning. You know what they say, Frank? Not my team, but I've got a phenomenal girl who's answering the phones and doing our first call script. And I heard her say this the other day, hey, Frank, that's no problem. And so this morning when I was on the team meeting, I said, hey guys, let me coach everybody. When you tell me there's no problem, my first question is, well, what was ever a problem? It wasn't a problem. So what we would do better to say is, hey, it's my pleasure. Hey, it's an honor to serve you. Hey, we love working with you. Don't say no problem, because you're saying there was a problem.
Yeah, or there could be problems, or is there
you're
often
highlighting
problems? You're telling me in this case there's no problem, but
well, people, we get what we highlight, and our words are an amplifier. And so even like in the loan consultation, we don't talk about rates and fees. Why? Because people will focus on what you focus on. What's important? Sales price, monthly payment, cash to close. With an agent, what's all the junk? Do they care about all the details? No. All they want to know is, I'm on track for a smooth and flawless closing. You're protecting my commission. A new agent, what do they want to talk about? Themselves, a new relationship. You want to hear what they're doing to win. And so it's just being aware that the words we use are so powerful, and they can help us. And where you're good and you'll get 60% of the business, I promise you, you sharpen your words, you'll get 80 to 90%. And when we started doing that to our loan consultation the last 3 years, measured results, we started gaining we were closing 64% of our contracts that came in, we would lose 4 out of 10. And then over the last 3 years, it's 94% of them we will take all the way through. And now I would tell you the last 3 months have been an anomaly because of the rate jump. We've never seen it jump double in a 4-month period.
Right.
But I'll tell you this, we're doing better. We keep getting better because of the words we use. And anytime there's a problem, there's probably a word behind that problem. So you fix the language, you'll win the client. And I love this last thought is this: if I say it first, I win. That was such a big revelation with agents. Like if I kept hearing the words about pain, or clients frustrated with bank statements, like, hey, when we do our lock handoff, we'll tell them, hey, listen, I've got a great back-end loan partner, Richard. He's going to take phenomenal care of you. It's his job to submit your loan in 72 hours. But let me tell you this, he's going to be a hawk on those documents. You may send over a statement and think you sent every page and miss in the last 2 pages. If it's 10 of 10, we have to have 10 of 10. So like what you'll do is you start seeing these problems that come up, and you just say them first so that you address any upfront frustration, and it just makes the process go smoother. And that's what design conversations are. So
I love it. Designed Conversations with Steve Kiles. Is that going to be the title of the book?
It's a great title. That's what we should call it.
Yeah, probably so. And so there's an actual book that's going to be coming out, in a few months?
Yeah, like in 60 days, we're putting it out. So it'll be
amazing.
Great.
Is this going to be a book, Steve, that people can get if they're not part of animals, or is this an animals only experience?
No, that'll be, we'll put that in Amazon. So that's going to be a part of our marketing animals collection. So I know Carl's got one. He's got a bunch. Yeah. And, Kevin Gillespie, this will be one we put out there as a marketing animals.
That's going to be an amazing book. But for right now, of course, Mortgage Marketing Animals and Freedom Club, they can access all of your scripts right now, right from the website.
100%. Yeah, we'd love to help you. Hey, and listen, Frank, if somebody's listening today and they say, you know what, I'd love some help with not only scripts, but process. Man, we've got a great resource through Daily Success
dailysuccessplan.com.
Man, we would love for you to just schedule a call, talk to one of our people. We can help you get better. I'll tell you this, Frank, and you asked me, how do I do scripts? I'm around great people like you. And that's no BS. Like every time I'm with Carl, I don't have a notepad, but I've got a note on my phone. And I literally, when I'm with other great originators, when I'm with other great branch managers like yourself or like Carl, I am always taking notes. Here's what I learned. I'm a better student than most people are teachers. And I don't mean that arrogantly. I just mean, man, I'm always trying to learn. Like when I hear a word or I hear a conversation or I hear something, like I'll take a note and I've got my reflection time in the evenings. And for me, I've got a ritual to it. And so I'm just thinking, and it's not even a long time. It's like 10, 15, maybe 20 minutes. But if you'll get into a process of reflection for the day and then take what is highlighted out, you just get better. Sharp iron sharpens iron. And so there you go, brother.
Awesome stuff, man. Awesome stuff. All right, guys. Steve Kiles, thank you so much for being here, brother. This was really, really enlightening. And I think a lot of people are going to get a lot out of it. And I know a lot of people are going to be very curious to maybe perhaps look into Mortgage Marketing Animals to get connected right away. And for sure, anxious to have that book come out. So great stuff. Again, we're calling this designed conversations, not scripts, my friends. And that's exactly what they are. Good pointers, man, on how you go through your process and understand it. But it's obviously going to be a lot easier just to drop in and plug into what you've already done for everybody. So that's really remarkable. Thank you for all your work and for providing this to everybody. It's really wonderful, Steve. Also, just want to remind you guys, Loan Officer Breakfast Club, Monday through Thursday, 8:30 a.m. to 9 a.m. Eastern time. If you want to get a taste of mortgage marketing animals, come to the Loan Officer Breakfast Club. You're absolutely going to love it. It's a live, free coaching Zoom call. We're sharing wins, we're sharing challenges, and we're going over what needs to get done every single day. It's a great way to start your day as any originator. With that, we'll go ahead and get on out of here. Thanks again for tuning into the Mortgage Loan Officer Podcast. We'll catch you here next week. Adios.